Hey people, welcome to Farm Shoulders. We're about to talk about soil versus dirt and a solution for farmers that are watching this so that I can help you take off your dependency from chemical-based fertilizers because of the conflict that's happening between the United States, Israel, and Iran right now in Southwest Asia, aka the Middle East, however you are calling it, depending on where you're at in the world. Because we need to have our food, okay? From just looking at this, we need to have our food. So many farmers are, number one, they're saying, hey, the price of this fertilizer is skyrocketing. Number two, the fertilizer is just not going to be delivered at some point. And that's the reason why the fertilizer is going up, because there's less fertilizer to go around. China in March decided they were not going to export most of their fertilizers so that they can keep the price down locally in China. They got over 1 billion people, so it makes sense. Then in May, they decided they're not going to export the materials to make the fertilizers because now they need to start hoarding that. Why? Because the conflict keeps going on longer and longer. I don't know by the time you watch this video if it's still going on or not, but here's the solution anyway. What's the difference between soil and dirt? For farmers, you probably know this, but if not, we're going to give a very layman's term. Soil is alive and can grow your crops. Dirt is dead and it will make them drop, okay? Now, soil is the lifeblood. The better your soil, the stronger your plant, the less likely you even need pesticides. Did you know that? Because if you have strong plants, it's hard for the bugs to chew on them. And the bugs are like, yeah, we got short lifespans and I'm hungry and I need to eat and this is very hard to chew. So let me go to the easiest plants to chew on. That's what happens. People don't know that. The stronger your plant, they already have resistances to them. That's why we get benefits when we eat plants, because those natural poisons and stuff, although they will affect us if we eat too much of the certain plants too often, but they strengthen our body because our bodies react to them. The other bugs, they're smaller than us, so it affects them faster and they start to go and eat something else. They have defense mechanisms all over the place. Now, here's the thing. The better your soil, the better the yield. Sometimes the higher the plants are, okay? The larger the plants are. Now, here's the thing. What you're depending on is that you're looking at the NPK levels on the chemical fertilizers. And they're telling you, hey, it's not already in the dirt or in the soil. And the reason why that could be the case is that you're not, as a farmer, many farmers are going to rip up, and this is generally true, if you look at a lawn of grass, okay? I'll just give you this example. Do you have to fertilize that grass? Just think about it. For most people on the planet, maybe some of you are fertilizing your grass. Okay, cool. We'll give you that. But for most people, are you fertilizing it? Do you need to fertilize it for the weeds to pop up? Do you need to fertilize it for the naturally occurring onions or other herbs, mints, and everything, depending on where you are in the world? There's different plants that grow up for them to grow. Now, I got a question for you. If you're not fertilizing them, why do you have to fertilize your crops? Well, here's the answer. Well, unlike the grasses, now some people bag the grass, okay? But for a large part, what's happening is the grass clippings are falling back into the earth and then returning those nutrients that they have sucked out already back to the earth. Eventually, those people that are bagging their grass so often, they may need to put some supplements in them. I wouldn't say need, but they need to put something else in them so that it can go back in there. But funny enough, the grasses are still dying anyway, because some grasses live 2 years, some live 5 years or so. And so they're dying and they're going to fall back into the earth anyway, even for the ones that are cutting their grass. So, and other plants are dying and bugs and stuff are dying. But on the crop field, you're putting pesticides there so that they stay away, which is going to take away from the plants that would naturally fertilize them themselves, bees and so on and so forth. And then, so there's not bugs that are just going to die and fall into the soil. So you're missing that. The microorganisms are then dying off because you're putting chemicals on them, / you're also not replenishing the nutrients, because as let's say you're growing maize, you got corn and everything, you're taking that away, putting that somewhere else. Are you now composting and putting anything back there? Many of you are not. So therefore, you're not going to have soil anymore on the left on your screen. You're going to have dirt. Dirt is dead. Soil is alive. Dirt, if it rains on it, pushes the water off, and there's going to be a huge amount of runoff. Soil absorbs the water, and that's where it is. Let's look at this demonstration or illustration here. Now, you see humus, topsoil, subsoil, groundwater, and so on and so forth. Now, let's just ignore the humus portion and put that as one with the topsoil. So you got topsoil slash humus. Humus is essentially the alive portion. Same thing with topsoil. Is what you'll be looking at here on the left. Be looking at humus slash topsoil. Now, what you're looking at here is the issue that you have is that since you're not putting anything back on it, you're eventually going to dry it out, because there's microorganisms, fungi, bacteria, and everything that the earthworms would eat. They're going to starve. They're going to die out. The earthworms will starve. They're going to die out. See? And then the bugs that will be there, they're starving because they don't have those microorganisms like amoeba, bacteria, and everything else to eat on. And so therefore, everything slowly dies from the bottom up. Okay? That's where it is. That's the long story short. Then you got another method, which there's a 15-minute or 10-minute video on YouTube somewhere. It's about 15 or 16 years old as the date of this recording in June of 2026. Now, they show the difference between the soil and the dirt. If you till your earth, you turn soil into dirt. Okay? If you till your earth, you turn soil into dirt. That's what happens. So imagine your body, and let's take your left or right arm, and you rip all the skin off. That's tilling it. You're ripping the skin off. Now what's happening is you're going to flip what's on the bottom underneath your muscles with your skin. Now your skin is your protective layer. But let's just look at it this way. If you take the muscles and expose them to the outside, what's happening? The direct sunlight is going to cook the mess out of your muscles. Your muscles don't even have a defense against that. Why? Because they got the skin to defend it. So what you're doing is you're going to take the topsoil area and you're going to flip that around, topsoil humus area. You're going to flip that underneath, take the subsoil things that are not actually exposed to the sunlight, and you're going to cook those bacteria, fungi, and they're going to die essentially almost instantly. It's like taking a fish out of water, and then you take a land animal and put it in the water. You're flipping them around. So all of those die out. There's nothing to eat it, essentially. There's going to be a generation or so to eat it, and it slowly will die out, and you're going to turn your soil on the left, right here, to the dirt on the right. Now, we got a solution for that. Depending on how big your farm is, because these chemical-based fertilizers eventually will, it will just run us out, because what you're doing is, I have to put it like this. It's like taking a multivitamin. If you take a multivitamin, several studies have shown that it's essentially like taking a heavy metal in your body. We're supposed to have it within our fruits and vegetables so that there's a way for us to process them. Why is that dirt on the right? Because you've killed off the microorganisms and the fungi that essentially break down the dead organisms that are in there so that it can then be absorbed more easily. See, more easily, not that they don't absorb it at all, just more easily into the plants and the animals that are down there, the insects and everything like that, and then the birds and everything else that eat off of them. So what you need to do is reconnect that cycle. We're going to show you how. Depending on the size of your farm, if you hit us up on our consultancy, the email is below. And it's essentially just the name at gmail.com, farmshoulders@gmail.com. But you hit us up, depending on the farm, is anywhere between $1,500 and $7,500. If you need us to travel out and show you directly and do a whole breakdown with that, you just cover the travel fees and everything like that. But you can hit us up there and let us know that you're interested, and we can get this right now, because I need us worldwide to be able to keep eating. We need to keep these food prices down. And right now, regardless of any governments or however they're doing it, the supply chains are wrecked. Okay? And there might be other areas where they got choke points at certain canals or other waterways that are being floated around right now at the time of this recording. So if you're already stretching your fertilizer out and thinning it out with waters or whatever you're filling it up with, fillers and whatnot like that, why don't you just transition over? It's going to take about 3 to 5 years to fully transition over. And you might say, oh my goodness. And that's the issue sometimes. We're looking at so short term. 3 and 5 years was the last presidential cycle when you think about it. 4 years, presidential cycle, bam, another presidential cycle. So one presidential cycle away, give or take a year, and you're already transitioned. So no matter what happens in the future, if somebody goes here left, who goes right, up the middle, backwards, up, do backflips, you're already prepared with a more natural way of doing this. We're not talking about organic. We're talking about just naturally putting your dirt back into soil so that you don't depend on these chemical-based fertilizers again. You don't have to depend on all of these industries that are making billions and trillions off of you, and then you're heavily dependent on them. Because right now, your soil is actually dirt, but you have to keep putting these topsoil, tilling, and all of these things on there because you're accidentally, and then if you accidentally, you're just in this for business and to supply a good service to people. Hey, and you got passed down in your family business, and now they're telling you, hey, you can't plant your own seeds because we copyrighted them. Hey, look, it's many complex issues. At least one of them, let's get it right here. Let's turn your dirt back into soil. Again, if you till your earth, you turn soil into dirt. Just remember that if you don't remember anything else. Hey, I'm Nico, as it may be, at Farm Shoulders, okay? farmshoulders@gmail.com. Hit us up. Depending on the size of your farm and your location, $1,500 to $7,500. We're going to keep it within that range. If you're extremely large, we may have to do a higher price, but we're going to specialize this depending on your climate, depending on your location, because everybody's rain cycles are different. How they water everything is different. The humidity in the air is different. The quality of the soil is obviously going to be different. Some places have red clay as the basis of their soil. Let's talk about more so in different parts of Africa, because that is more heavily naturally occurring, versus you're going to have more of the brownish type of soil and blackish soil that's going to just be occurring over in the Americas, some places in Asia, and even South America, especially South America. So let's have it specialized directly to you. We serve all regions on the planet. Let's get this done. All right. And I'll catch you guys on another video. And hopefully I'll be talking to you via email.